Buckle up, everyone, because we're about to journey back nearly 9,000 years to a proto-city that's rewriting history books.
7,000 BC to be exact.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
almost impossible to fathom. And this place, it's called Çatalhöyük, located in modern-day Turkey. Wasn't just a village. It was a bustling hub of activity, a society with its own unique culture and a complex economy. And get this, they entered their homes through the roof.
Through the roof, yeah.
No streets, just rooftops acting as walkways and gathering spaces.
Yeah.
It's mind-blowing. So we're going to unpack all that today, dive deep into the archaeological findings, the art, the debates about social structure. It's going to be a wild ride.
I'm excited.
Me too. Okay, so first things first. Why build a city with rooftop access? Was it for defense or something else entirely?
Well, the sources we have point to defense as a likely factor. I mean, imagine trying to invade a city where the walls are also the streets. It'd be pretty confusing and difficult.
Right, like a giant maze.
Yeah.
But wouldn't that also create an incredibly tight-knit community?
Absolutely. These shared rooftop spaces, they would have been the heart of social life. Picture it bustling with activity, people interacting, trading stories, kids playing. It must have fostered a strong sense of community.
So let's talk about daily life in Çatalhöyük. What do we know about their routines, their homes, their crafts?
Well, the sources paint a vivid picture. There were skilled farmers cultivating crops like wheat and barley. They also domesticated animals, sheep, goats, things like that. And they were adept hunters, too.
It's amazing how archaeologists can piece together so much information from fragments and remains.
Yeah.
Do they have a lot of pottery?
Oh, tons of it. And animal bones plant remains tools. It's all part of the puzzle. And from what we can tell, they were pretty self-sufficient, but not completely isolated.
Oh, right. They're famous for their obsidian.
Exactly. Çatalhöyük was a major center for obsidian production and trade.
So obsidian was like their gold.
More like their iron or steel. It was incredibly valuable for making tools and weapons, and they traded it far and wide across a vast network, reaching even the Mediterranean.
So this wasn't just a small village. They were connected to a much wider world.
Very much so.
Now let's talk about their burial practices.
Yeah,
I was reading that they buried their dead under the floors of their homes.
it seems odd to us, but it tells us a lot about their worldview. They clearly had a strong connection to their ancestors. It's almost like they wanted to keep them close.
And in some cases, they would remove the skull and possibly use it in rituals.
Right? Skulls plastered and painted with ochre have been found. It suggests ancestor veneration and a belief in the afterlife.
So fascinating. Okay, let's move on to their art. They had some pretty striking murals and figurines, didn't they?
Oh, absolutely. Vivid hunting scenes, depictions of powerful animals like aurochs and vultures, abstract patterns, too. It's like looking into their minds.
And there's that famous mural that some think is the world's oldest map.
Ah, yes. The one showing a volcano and what could be a settlement, but some argue it might be a leopard skin, a symbol of power and status. It's hard to say for sure.
Like trying to decipher a code. And speaking of decoding, there was a time when Çatalhöyük was considered a mother goddess culture based on the female figurines.
Right, especially that iconic seated woman figurine.
But as with the map debate, there are other interpretations. Newer excavations have uncovered tons of figurines, many depicting animals, not just female forms.
It's made archaeologists rethink those initial assumptions about a dominant mother goddess figure. The debate about gender roles and social structure in Çatalhöyük is still ongoing.
It's a good reminder that archaeology is a constantly evolving field. And speaking of social structure, how did such a large settlement thrive for so long without any apparent hierarchy?
That's one of the biggest mysteries, and it's a question with huge implications for our understanding of early societies. I mean, if Çatalhöyük truly was egalitarian, it challenges everything we thought we knew about early urban societies.
Right. We tend to think of ancient cities and automatically picture kings, priests, strict social hierarchies. But Çatalhöyük seems to flip that script. There's no sign of palaces or lavish tombs, nothing that screams elite.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. The sources point to a lack of any obvious social stratification.
So no one's flaunting their wealth or power. That's fascinating. What about gender equality? Did women hold positions of power?
Well, the evidence suggests that men and women had similar diets, participated in a variety of activities, and enjoyed comparable social standing.
Wow, no strict gender roles. That's pretty progressive for a society that existed 9,000 years ago.
It definitely challenges our assumptions.
But I'm sure there are other interpretations, right?
Of course. Some scholars argue that we might be missing subtle clues about social differences.
Like what?
For instance, recent studies hint at variations in wealth transmission between generations, even if these differences weren't blatantly displayed.
So maybe a more nuanced picture is emerging. Not a perfect utopia, but still a society where social equality was highly valued.
It shows the amazing diversity of human social structures and reminds us that our ancestors created societies that were vastly different from our own code.
Speaking of differences, let's go back to their economic activities. We've talked about obsidian, but what else can we learn about their economic complexity?
While obsidian was crucial, they were also skilled agriculturalists and craftspeople. They grew various crops, raised livestock, and produced a wide range of goods.
So a multifaceted economy. What kind of crafts did they excel at?
Besides obsidian tools, they made beautiful textiles, pottery baskets. They were also skilled in working with bone antler wood, creating tools, ornaments, figurines, you name it.
Sounds like a bustling economy. Did they leave any clues about labor organization or resource management?
Unfortunately, the archaeological record is a bit vague on those details, but the scale and complexity of their economic activities strongly suggest a high degree of organization and cooperation.
It's mind-boggling how they coordinated everything to maintain such a large settlement for centuries.
It speaks to their resourcefulness and adaptability.
Makes you wish we could travel back in time and observe them firsthand, see their daily life, their interactions, their rituals.
Imagine the sights and sounds of Çatalhöyük. The lively rooftop terraces families gathered around communal ovens, artisans busy in their workshops.
And the rituals. We've discussed the skull removal, but what other clues do we have about their belief system?
They didn't build grand temples, but some rooms within their homes were designated for ritual activities. These rooms often contained symbolic objects like figurines, animal skulls, and wall paintings.
So a more integrated form of religion woven into their daily lives. What can we learn from these ritual spaces?
Recurring motifs in their art and symbolism, things like powerful animals, hunting scenes, female forms, suggest a complex belief system centered around nature, fertility, and ancestor veneration.
A desire to maintain harmony with the natural world and their ancestors.
Exactly. Their rituals and beliefs likely permeated their everyday lives, ensuring a sense of continuity between past, present, and future.
Çatalhöyük's story is truly captivating. But we focus on its rise, its innovations, and its enduring mysteries. What about its fall? Why was this thriving proto-city eventually abandoned?
That's a question that has puzzled researchers for ages. The sources you've compiled suggest a convergence of factors.
Yeah, it's like a historical whodunit. What really happened to Çatalhöyük? So, spill the beans. What are the prime suspects in this case?
Well, the evidence points to a major suspect: environmental change. Around the time Çatalhöyük was abandoned, the region experienced a period of aridification.
Aridification, you mean things got drier?
Exactly. The sources mention evidence of soil erosion and water scarcity. It would have made farming a whole lot harder.
And they relied heavily on agriculture. So that would have put a major strain on their food supply.
For sure. It's like the foundation of their society was starting to crack.
Wow, makes sense. But were there other contributing factors besides the environment?
There could have been internal pressures as well. Remember our earlier discussion about potential social complexities?
Right, the possibility of wealth disparities emerging and the uncertainty about how they managed resources and labor as the settlement grew.
Exactly. Those factors could have led to social unrest or conflict as competition for resources intensified.
So a double whammy, environmental stress plus internal strife. It's a recipe for upheaval.
Sadly, it seems that way. Çatalhöyük's story reminds us that even the most successful societies can be vulnerable to change.
Yeah. It's a sobering thought, but it also speaks to the incredible resilience of the human spirit. They faced those challenges head on and left behind a legacy that continues to inspire us.
Absolutely. Their innovations in architecture, social organization, and sustainable living are full of valuable lessons for us today.
It's amazing how a society from 9,000 years ago can still be so relevant to our lives today.
Çatalhöyük's story has captured the imagination of people from all walks of life. Architects are drawing inspiration from their unique urban design with its emphasis on density and rooftop living.
And urban planners are looking to Çatalhöyük for ideas on creating sustainable and community-focused cities. It's really remarkable.
Even artists and philosophers are finding inspiration in Çatalhöyük's art and its apparent emphasis on social equality. It's a testament to the power of the past to shape our present.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of Çatalhöyük, what are the key takeaways? What should our listeners ponder?
Well, I think Çatalhöyük serves as a powerful reminder of human potential for innovation and resilience. It also highlights the importance of community and our interconnectedness with the environment.
And how the choices we make today will shape the world for generations to come. Just as the people of Çatalhöyük left their mark on history, Our actions will have a lasting impact on the future.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's been a fascinating journey back in time, exploring the mysteries and marvels of this incredible proto-city.
We hope you've enjoyed this deep dive into Çatalhöyük and that it's left you with a newfound appreciation for the ingenuity and complexity of our shared human past.
And perhaps a renewed sense of wonder about what we can achieve when we work together to build a better future.